welcome to the Messy Workshop. I've been missing for a couple of weeks and have not been in my workshop at all for a couple of weeks. We've been traveling around and visiting some friends. We were up in Montreal and we were in parts of Vermont. So I'm back and I'm trying to get back on track with my dollhouse. So this is going to be a two-part video taking you through the rather awkward and perhaps sometimes torturous process of me trying to get these balustrades sorted out on the dollhouse. They're not finished, but this video was becoming very long, so I am going to put up the first part today, and then I will continue trying to finish up that process as far as I'm able. I am not going to glue these into place right here just yet, because I do want to see about maybe putting some chimneys on there, and these would just be in the way when I'm working there if I do go ahead with the chimneys. So I'm going to experiment with the chimneys before I actually glue the side ones down, but everything else is going to get, you know, sanded, painted, the paint touched up, and glued into place for the next video. So, buckle up. This was not easy. Well, let's get to work. Workshop is kind of a mess. There's just so much stuff in here. Ugh. It really bugs me to come in here and see it like this. And I think on my list of workshop projects is going to be to kind of like sort and organize in here a little bit more. It's really tricky because this is my only work surface. So it is my desk, my work surface, my, you know, also where I do things like pay the bills and stuff like that don't have anything to do with the workshop. So that's difficult. And then a large chunk of the room is taken up with this bed, which I just really can't get rid of, because this is where, when one of our daughters comes home from Chicago, this is where she sleeps, and this is where my grandson takes his naps when I'm watching him. So I really can't get rid of that. But what do I want to work on in here? So in the last video, I finished this beautiful trim that I'm really happy with. Not perfect, but all in all, I'm still pretty happy with it. I need to clean up the table, all the dust. Short project, I can do that. Next thing I want to do is start working with this stuff. I'm figuring out how I'm going to apply this stuff, how I'm going to, because I have this gritty, sandy finish on here, so I think I'm going to have to actually probably scrape that down a little bit. I have these corner pieces that I've cut from something that's actually taller. But I also have angles that are not 90 degrees, so I have to really do some calculations to figure that out. So I'm going to get a grip on handling the stuff on these nice square pieces before I come down here and try to figure out how to deal with these angles and this bay right here. I also don't have that much of this stuff. I only got a few pieces just to try it out initially, but I like it, so I will have to order more. This comes from England, so they ship pretty quickly, but it won't be, I won't be able to order until next month. I've already ordered for this month. Exhausted my budget for this month, so, but I, you know, still want to get started and see where it's going. And then I have to figure out my porch here, which needs some kind of a column in the corner. And what am I going to do here? I feel like there should be some gingerbread maybe hanging from here. I'm going to start with this rectangular section right here. I am not sure if I want to put railing on this top little bit right there. I may just leave that plain. We'll have to see when I get the rest of it together if I think it needs it. So because this doesn't have any really strange angles, I mean, it does, this wall slants a little bit, so there is that slight angle to deal with there, but because the rest of this is square and doesn't have any of the the unusual angles like I have down here, right there. Yeah, sorry about this jerking around here. I actually have this tripod balanced on the guest bed right now, trying to get at this dollhouse at this angle. So when I get off and on the bed, there's going to be some wobble here, and I'm sorry about that. But I don't have a fancy, what do you call those fancy systems where they like hang the camera from the ceiling and it goes along in a track and all that? I'm not there yet, so we're making do. But this is just 90-degree angle corners, so I think this will be not too terrible. So, oh God, I've been putting this off so long, I just don't even want to do, I don't even want to do this. I just feel like it's just going to be so impossible, and I'm going to make so many mistakes with it. I have so many problems. I don't know why I dread it so much, but okay, that's why I'm doing it with you guys, so you can, you know, be my silent cheering squad to convince me to go ahead and do this. And hopefully by me doing it and making all the mistakes, if you try to do something like this, you can bypass most of the mistakes that I make. So let's see. So I've got this piece of trim right here. I have this is going to be my corner post right here. Can you see that? Yeah, that's going to be my corner post. So I have to figure out how to cut this piece to fit this. And do I want to cut it so that that's flush up against the wall there, or do I just want to leave it straight? Let me take a look at that. I might be able to just trim a little bit off the bottom of this. So what I want to do, I want this top piece to be flush against this wall right here. So that means that I need to cut the bottom off of this right about, mark that with a pencil, right there. Okay, right. Okay. So I'm going to actually cut the bottom of this off right here. Ooh, wow. You see that? That blade just fits in between there perfectly. If it didn't, I think I'd have to do this without the block and just very carefully sand it straight. And oh yeah, that would be a problem. So what would you do if you didn't have this kind of situation? You could try cutting with a craft knife, I think. There may be other size blades available for the handheld saws like this that might work better. All right, so here we go. So that wasn't too bad. All right, so what I've now done is, this is sawed off right here, and this is a little bit longer. And when I held that up against the wall that I need to put this against, that was going to work. So let's go see if it actually did. All right, that looks really good. So let me show you what it is that I'm trying to accomplish here. Is for the top here to be touching the roof of this little tiny room at the top. And then the bottom is flush up against the bottom of that wall. So I think I'm going to put the railings at the very edge here. I think that's what I want to do. I could put it in like that. What do you think looks better? think I don't know. If I put it at the edge here, which I like better, for as far as the base goes, then I have this odd piece just kind of sticking out there, which maybe I could trim off somehow. If I bring it in here so that this meets up with the edge of the wall, then I have to bring the railings in a little bit all the way around. This is where I get stuck, because like whatever I decide to do, then I have to keep doing it all the way through. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it inside the ridge of the roof a little bit. Okay, so that's all right. Now, I just realized, as I put this piece up against here, that I had made all these plans to use these corner newel posts everywhere. Or newel posts, or just corner posts, I'm not sure what you'd call them. And in order to do that, I did some test pieces before, and I'll show you this. In order to put these corner pieces in here, so I was going to have to make these angled cuts right here in order to get these to fit. So then what would happen is the rails would bump up in the corner there, and then this would sit against the straight part. Now, these potential corner pieces don't match these perfectly, so that was one thing. But I thought they looked good enough. But now, I'm not sure that I need to use them, and it would save me a lot of aggravation to not use them, because look at when I put this one here, and then I just had bumped this other one over against it. I was like, oh, they can just meet up. And then if I really want to have some sort of corner effect, I'm sure it would be very easy to come up with to find just a round wooden bead or something that I could glue on the corners there, or some other little decorative finial or something to just give that corner a little more defined look if I want to. So I think I'm going to save myself a lot of aggravation and eliminate this. I hadn't bought a ton of these yet. I had a handful of them. It's okay. I mean, they're bound to get used in something, when I'm creating a piece of furniture, or, who knows what they could end up being on a stairway or something down the road. So I'm not really worried about not using those. I hadn't bought so many of them that I'm worried about that. But yeah, okay, that's a headache off my mind right there. Okay, so I'm now going to, so this one's going to have to be cut differently. All right, so I'm now going to cut the bottom of the left side one. So I'm going to mark that. Okay. So now I want to I want to make sure that I get these the same distance away from the edge all along here, so that however far away the rail is from this edge here, it's the same here, same in the middle, same all the way. So I need to do a little marking with pencil, I think. I don't know how well I'm going to be able to get pencil into these into this gritty stuff here. Another thing I was wondering about if I was going to have to do was whether I was going to have to gouge out some of this sand stuff to get these to sit smooth. And at least on this surface, they look like they'll just sit fine on top of the grit, and that's where I'm going to leave them. There are some other places where I think I am going to have to, smooth out the sandy paint a little bit, because I just had an uneven surface to begin with and had to sort of, you know, blend things in. So I will have to deal with that eventually. Let's see. I think I want the railings, the posts to line up. When they turn corners like this, I want the posts to line up in both directions. All right, so what I want is for these to line up and these to line up perfectly with the one that's in the corner where they join. So this means that this distance right here may not end up being exactly 1 centimeter the way this side was. And I don't even know if that side's going to end up being 1 centimeter because everything's a little skewed with this dollhouse to begin with. All right, so I think the next thing here, okay, so I need to figure out what length to cut this piece right here. So if I want those to line up perfectly, then I need this one cut. Let me make sure. Make sure they're lined up with each other. There we go. I need this one cut right here. Alrighty. So this one I'm cutting right across there. That makes sense. I'm gonna have to make these cuts on my own, trying to keep them as straight as I can. And I wonder if I can. It did fit in there like that before, so I can probably just do the top and the bottom separately. And yeah, do it that way. I think that's how I'm going to have to do that. But there. Get some. I'm going to start out trying the clear wood glue. I do want a good solid purchase in the middle, so sometimes I hear myself talking like I know what I'm talking about, and I think, what am I doing? Why do I talk like I know what I'm doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. I have not seen anybody do this. I don't know how any of this is going to work out. I mean, I have some ideas. Okay. Another thing I have to be really careful of is to make sure I don't accidentally put any of these upside down. I feel like that's a thing that I'd be sure to do. Okay, now, how do I deal with the corners? How do I deal with turning corners? Do I go this way first, or do I go this way first? I definitely need this one to line up here, so I think I need to do this one first. This is going to be hard. Let's see. Okay, that is also, wow, I looked out there, that is also 1 perfect centimeter. So, just lay right there. Okay, so that comes out to 1 perfect centimeter right there. And then I want this distance here, which appears to be 9 millimeters. So this one needs to be 9 millimeters. Actually, if I do this right there, do these line up? There we go. I think it will be close enough even if it's not perfect. Hopefully I get it square. So right there. Right there. Do those things line up? Let's say that they do. Okay. Oh, I'm not even on camera for that. So it's just checking my lines to see if that looks straight. I think it does look pretty straight. Use that cut that I already made right there to make sure that I get the other one lined up. So that goes right into right into the slot right there. Okay. Just lightly. This would be so much easier if I had all that stuff to hang cameras on, and if I had more than 1 camera and things like that, but I'm not there yet. Okay. Oh. Dollhousing is hard, people. When I get the 3 pieces on for here. I'm not going to continue anymore on it today because I want this glue to set overnight, so that before I continue, I want to make sure that gluing this directly to the gritty paint is going to work out all right. So I'm going to let this dry overnight and check it tomorrow to see if it feels pretty solidly attached. If it does, then I'll continue like this. If it doesn't feel like it's going to hold well, then I'm going to have to take these off and scrape down the paint, that sand paint, and expose the wood underneath so that I have something to make a direct contact with, wood to wood. Okay. Alright, there's that. Now, here's where it's going to get dicey, folks. Alright, this piece I need to put another coat of paint on, so I don't want to use that one. This one looks okay. So now I have to figure out how to put this in here so that it looks right. Ooh, that's going to line up pretty well, actually. Okay. Dry fit first, always. Okay. A little bit of a gap right there. I can't get the piece into the miter box well enough to get my cuts perfectly accurate, so I think that's a problem I'm going to run into fairly often. However, it's not bad. I think if I just use a little bit of wood filler, because I will have to touch up the paint on all of this again. I think if I use a little bit of wood filler in there, I'll be able to, you know, make it look okay. And this can sort of squeeze in together here. Okay, so glue on the bottom here. Lots of glue right there. Also want to glue a little bit along the sides here. Too sloppy. Get my joins as clean and flush as I can. Which for some reason here means that the bottom of this piece isn't really going to make perfect contact with the roof of the house. Get that as flush as I can get it. Wow, this is so fiddly. It is really frustrating. I'm not enjoying this. perfectly flush right there. It's close enough though. Squeeze these together. Yeah, and actually this piece hadn't completely dried to the surface yet, so by pulling this in tight, I'm able to close this little gap over here and make this look a little better. And I think that with just a teeny bit of wood filler or paint, that's going to be fine. All right. So, I mean, you can make yourself absolutely nuts trying to get everything like so perfect when you're dealing with this tiny little scale stuff. I mean, you start going into this world and all of these things look huge. These differences look huge, but remember, you're going to stand back and look at the whole house and it's going to be fine. And there's just, I don't think it's possible to get these things. Maybe with a laser cutter you could get things perfectly precise if you did everything laser cut from the very beginning of the house on out. I don't think that's very realistic. Okay, so I think I'll put a little tape right here to just hold those together. I think I like the way that looks. I mean, you know, I'm trying to imagine it all white because I've got raw edges of wood right there. I think that's going to look good, and then I think just having some kind of a little ball or finial right on these corners would just maybe give it a little extra something. I'm not sure I need it. We'll see when I get the rest of it on the house. I'll look at it again and try to decide if I want to put some little decorative something there or not. I think it would be cool to maybe just like have a birdhouse on one of them or something. You know, a couple of little birdhouses on the corners of some of those, or you know, a flagpole or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out. Okay. So I don't have much more of this. I've got, I got 1, 2. I've only got 3 more pieces of this plus the scraps. I've got 3 scrap pieces that I cut off. So I'm definitely going to have to order more of this. And these pieces all need more painting and sanding. The remaining pieces that I have. So I'm not going to be able to get very far on this. And I'll probably put up this video before I finish that project because I've got other big expenses for this dollhouse. I have sort of a monthly budget that I'm allowing myself to spend on it, and it's not going to be in my budget for this month and possibly not even for next month, sadly, to get these the rest of these pieces, because these come from a wholesaler in England, and the shipping alone is quite expensive, so I have to be prepared to do a good size order to make it worth it. Otherwise I'm just spending a ridiculous amount of money on things if I'm just ordering a few pieces of something. So it may be June before I can order the rest of the pieces, but I want to get enough of this done so that I can at least put up a video about the process, about what I've learned, and then if I have to finish the rest of it off camera, I'll do that. All right, that's the end of part 1. Hopefully part 2 is a little less agonizing. See you back here soon. Thanks for coming along. Bye.